Hello guys, in this video I want to explain about how to integrate Spring Boot with Amazon SQS. Let's go to SQS. SQS is nothing but simple queue service. It is helpful for sending and receiving messages between different services. I can say like it is a kind of message broker like RabbitMQ, ActiveMQ and Kafka. Now let me try to create a queue. Here we have different type of queue, right? Standard and FIFO. Now let's try to select the standard one only. Let me give some name to my queue as Spring Boot queue. Now I'm just using the default values only and creating the queue with that. That means I need to select the IAM and create a group and user here. I need to access this queue from my Spring Boot application, so I'm creating this group. Let me say here the name of the group is queue group. Here I need to give some permissions to it. One is administrator access and another one is EC2 full access. Let me go down and click on the create group button. Okay, the group name is already exists. Let me give some other group name, queue Spring Boot group. Let me click on the create group. Now a group got created. Now let me try to create a user here. My username is use Spring Boot user. Let me click on next, and here let me try to map this user to this particular group. Let me click on next and let me click on the create user button. Now even my user got created. Now I need to generate security credentials from this user. Let me click on create access key. Now as we are trying to access this SQS from outside AWS, we need to select this option. Let me try to click on next and click on the button create access key. Now we need to copy these keys, guys. Okay, let me paste it here. So I will use this access key and secret key when I created my Spring Boot application. Now we are done with creation of a queue and group on the user. Now let me try to create a Spring Boot application. Let's wait for this website to load. Yeah. Now let me select the option Maven for the build tool, and let's say here com.springboot.sqs and Spring Boot SQS service. Let me add the dependencies Spring Web. Now let me try to download the application. Now I will import it from my local into my IDE. Okay, now we are able to import our application. Now we need to add some properties into our applications. Okay, these are the properties I need to add. Let me save it here. Now I need to add some dependencies. If we need to connect our Spring Boot application to AWS, we need to add some dependencies. Let me open my pom.xml and add to these two dependencies. These dependencies are Spring Cloud AWS Starter and Spring Cloud AWS Starter SQS. Let me copy this one here from here and add it here. Now let me try to create a config class. This config class is used for connecting to our AWS SQS queue. Let me name it as AWS config. dot config. Let me try to copy this configuration from here. If you observe carefully, I have created two beans. One is SQS async client and one is SQS template. This bean is helpful for connecting to SQS, and this template, I can say like this SQS template is helpful for communicating with this queue for sending and receiving the messages. Now let me try to create a endpoints here for sending messages. @REST controller, @get mapping, public void send. Let me add a path variable here, string message, and let me auto void the SQS template here. Sorry, it is SQS template. Now let me try to send the message from here. If you observe here, it is saying string queue, comma message. For message, we can add it for this argument. For this queue, we need to add URL of our queue. Let's go to our queue once again. Let's wait for the page to be loaded. I need to go inside to my queue and copy this URL. I have pasted this URL here. Now let me add the path variable here. Okay, send message. Now let me try to run the application once. Let's wait for our application to start. Meanwhile, let me click on this button, send and receive messages. Currently we don't have any messages here, right? Now let's wait for our application to start. We can send our first message from our SpringBoot local to our Amazon SQS queue. Localhost 8080 send. Let's say hello. Now here let's try to receive messages. Let's click on the option poll for messages. If you observe, we receive a message hello. Now we try to send a message from our local, and now we receive the message on the SQS. Now it means we successfully integrated our SpringBoot with SQS. Now we completed one part. We successfully sent the message. Now we need to receive the message from the queue. How we can do it means using this SQS listener we can do it. Public void receive. Let me try to print that message here. String message. Let me try to paste it here. Let me copy the queue name. It is SpringBoot queue, right? Now I will restart my application. If you wait for a few seconds, we will see that message on SQS displayed on our console. Right, wait for a few seconds. If you observe, we can see the message. We received it from our queue. Now what I will do means I will not send message from my application. I will send application message from my queue to my application. Let's see. Let me say hi and click on send message, and let's wait. Yeah, if you observe, I'm getting message from my queue. Now I hope you guys understand how to configure SpringBoot with AWS SQS and how to send messages from our local to our queue and from our queue to our endpoint. I can select to our application. and there is no rule like we should have the method names like send and receive. You can have any method names, and you need to follow this template. Okay, if you have any queries, please comment it in comment section. Thank you for watching my video.